today we have with us a very special guest, Mr. Vikas Gupta, Chief Information Officer and Head IT at H Energy Group of Companies, for this very interesting fireside chat.
Thank you so much, Kalpana.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so pleased to see you. Mr. Gupta, you have worked with many large conglomerates in the last 25 plus years. While technology leaders usually move from CIO role to consultancy, how has been your journey from consultancy to now a CIO?
Consulting is very, very close to my heart. I worked there for 15 years of my initial career until I could actually mature to the CIO. I'd say consulting is a role which is more of a problem solving. Problem solving for the people who are actually in the business. If you look at the consulting is gives me so much of a flavor to move from industry to industry. In a short span of 8 to 10 months, 12 months, you can actually switch over industries. Very difficult to do it at any other place. You might be stuck up at the user community when you become a CIO with 1 or 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 industries only, of which you are a part, the conglomerate where you work. But consulting is one part which gives you so much to learn, so much to really work through, so much diverse challenges. And I think it's an industry which every individual, to me, should really take part, should some part in their life, should some part in their careers, should really work for this. Now, having moved from there, I know I have worked in consulting so many years. I have worked across time zones, across many verticals within the same company, within the same client base I've worked for. Their clients have sometimes made comments saying that we work for US geography at 1 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, how can you work with Philippines? So consulting is one which gives you that junoon. You got to really understand, yes, this is one place which gives you to work like you want to work. It's not that somebody else wants you to work. It's something that you want to do for yourself. And I really enjoyed working with consultancy. But you look at the other side, what do we work in consultancy for? Consultancy, we work for end user consumers problem resolution. You know, Aham Brahmasmi, you know the Udgam part, the problem originates at the manufacturing. Problem initiates, it is created, it's solved by consulting, but where does it originate? It originates at the place where the manufacturing is, at the place where project execution is, at the place where the people on the shop floor are. And that's where you basically realize, having worked in consultancy, why not look at other part of it? Where does the problem originate, and why in the first place the problem originate? Is it because we have lagged behind the implementations, or the technology is moving at a slower pace? So I've moved from consulting to the CIO community to work with the user end for past 7 years, 8 years to be precise.
So very well articulated, sir, I must say. So last 24 months have dramatically changed the outlook of enterprises towards technology and technology leaders. How this added focus and responsibilities are making life challenging for technology leaders like you?
I would say the technology was always expanding. Things were always available. Either they were available in retail or they were available in corporate. Look at Amazons of the world, Flipkarts of the world, Airbnb for that matter. For that matter, the technology was existing. Business were already exploring some or many of these. I think pandemic has changed the scenario where we started looking at not only our own domain, we started looking at cross-domain expertise in adopting technology to serve our customers. I think I have a I've talked this at many other forums as well. The locus of innovation has moved from the realms of IT to where the customer is. Now the customer is the focal point, be it on the start where you start manufacturing, be it on the servicing, be it on the end point where you're delivering a service or a product. Everywhere, the centricism, the focus, the focal point is the customer. Customer is a cynosure. I work for customer, I live for customer, and customer is one who will sail me through. So I think the technology has become to get adopted across domains. Of course, the lookout of people has changed to some extent, because earlier we used to chase business in adopting a technology. Now the business chases us in delivering a technology. So it will deliver a problem statement and say, I got to really work this out very soon, and that very soon means probably with some technological leverage. I think the outlook has changed up before the pandemic and post pandemic. I think even during the pandemic, if we look at, a lot of things have really transformed. Once people started working from home largely. I think after first few months of sudden lull, I think when the people started working from home, the technological edge just got imbibed like a hygiene, and people just became addicted to technology. And thus, I think the outlook has really changed.
Yeah. So, how are you leveraging new age technologies like automation, AI, IoT, and data analytics to enhance the productivity and efficiency of the workforce?
Correct. So, as I was saying, this technology that we adopted for surveillance, now this is a pure robotics kind of a system, which actually works on an AI and ML algorithms, and it enables the users sitting many miles away from the field to really see in an online fashion how their execution of either a pipeline laying or an excavation or an enhancement is happening runtime. Now, this can also help us in understanding that if a particular pipeline layout, for instance, for a kilometer, which was to be done in about 3 days time frame, and for some reason it has taken about 4 days, how do I extrapolate my entire Gantt chart and things like that to really work out what will be required time frame for my entire stretch of, say, 10 kilometers, which was to be worked on. So that gives me in a runtime an evaluation of how we can do some fine tweaking in terms of either resource augmentation or identifying some dependencies which can be removed, or certain obstacles which can be eliminated from there. This actually helps us in doing multiple things. Now, the AI and ML part, which actually is there, gives us an extrapolation, allows us to do extrapolation over the original project plan, which was either there in Primavera or somewhere, and it probably gives an estimate how my resources can be beautifully utilized. Another thing which we actually started tracking through this system was these huge assets which were rented out. Now, the purpose of these assets, like these JCBs and others, is to do some execution in certain time frame. If that particular asset is lying idle at a particular location, which is identified through these robotics mechanism through AI and ML for certain time frames, say for 6 hours it's stationary at that particular place. Now the system probably can give some kind of an alert that this particular asset got to be moving between this and that in 6 hours, which it has failed to do. Now, having realized that these assets are very huge on rental, crossing about a few lakhs a day, or quite a few lakhs in a week. So if you can optimize the stationary devices at particular place in a particular section, so instead of 2 I can take 1, or if I can move this particular asset from one location to the other for an optimal utilization over a period of time, it starts to give you a lot of savings. Yet another thing, Kalpana, I would say is that from the perspective of contractors monitoring, if you look at a lot of these people, a lot of these sites are actually very largely managed by the contractors. Nobody from the team can really go and supervise 5,000 workers coming to a place for really working, and you don't know, you can't count 5,000. But the thing is, such systems give you an advantage in understanding the productivity of employees, how many people are deployed at a specific place over a stretch of a pipeline. And when it runs cross country, where you have involved many people, it becomes very difficult to monitor such large crowds. So productivity can definitely be looked at from this perspective, where the contractors can be asked to work on certain systems through certain systems, and such kind of remote surveillance tools and help will help us in monitoring the situation in the favorable manner for the company.
Absolutely, sir. What are the recent implementations that you have done when it comes to technology? And of course, if you can talk about your top technology focus areas and priorities of the next 2-3 years.
After having stayed for a few months in pandemic, say about 3 months in the month of April, we started to understand that this is just not going to get over very soon. It's going to take a lot of time before we all can come out of it. And in the month of June, July, August, September, I'm sure each one of us were in such a terrible state. We didn't know, is there a vaccine to it? We didn't know how to contain this. We cannot come out of the house. And we did not know how to really carry on these executions and how will the companies and the sites will survive. So we started looking at began to look at our implementations, which we had left earlier in the month of, say, February or March, early March. And I will just say that we made so good a utilization of time. We actually implemented plant management, plant maintenance in SAP. Complete end-to-end implementation we completed in 5.5, 6 months of time frame. So I could say the team was so dedicated in doing this. I mean, partly we were all to blame that for a month or two that holiday and vacation looked very good. But largely people began to get so bored that their productivity increased. 6 months, we implemented the entire plant maintenance in a complete remote fashion, from analysis to testing to change requests, going live, post go live, and a real line scenario. This was a phenomenal thing. Entire management appreciated. We've implemented SAP in a remote fashion. The next thing that we did, we actually also looked at HSE tool, the health safety environment tool. So, and we integrated, did that whole that was a parallel implementation. We did that in about 7 months time frame, and we integrated with SAP. The third thing that we did was we implemented Legatrix. The fourth thing was we implemented robotics-based AI/ML tool, which was to be used not only for surveillance but also for execution and monitoring of my site work. The fifth thing was another web development that we undertook parallelly for the revamp of our website, and a few other CRM tools we developed completely. So I would say we've actually utilized the time to the maximum. As I said, Kalpana, the focus is going to stay on the customer, their requirement getting fulfilled. All of these are going to drive the technological side of the development, how the companies will stay afloat in this competitive environment through the use of technology. So I think the technology will get picked from Airbnbs of the world, from Amazons of the world, from online banking, etc., to getting delivered on corporate applications. So a lot of these applications will get consolidated. A lot of new initiatives will get broken up in terms of web tools, applications on the mobile, and they'll get interfaced with serious looking SAPs of the world sitting in the remote corners of the data center, which will be highly productive. So I think a lot of these applications from a retail perspective, from a retail domain, will move out to the corporate to fulfill the needs of the customers.
Right. So seamless customer experience will be the top technology focus areas over the next 2 or 3 years for you.
Absolutely. I think if you look at each one of these even recent developments, if you look at whether it's a car or whether it's a phone or whether it's a watch or whether it is any dressing piece or accessories, all has a centricism or a orientation towards its customer. So if you look at cars, we've seen connected cars, talking about cars talking to each other. We're talking about electric vehicles. We're talking about the environment as such, which is going to be beneficial only for the generations to come. I think all of these will again start looking at how the customers will will in a way he'll become more fussy about such things. But then the thing is, that's what the need of the hour is basically.
Absolutely, sir. So what are the key challenges for digital transformation in a manufacturing environment, and what would you advise to counter these challenges?
Well, no, I have seen that in the last 6-7 months, as I told, and the implementations that we have done, the major challenge is, I think, a couple of them. Of course, mindset is one. The second thing is adopting it properly. So there has to be a seriousness. I mean, unless and until, of course, we are fortunate that our things get driven from the top, but not many people, organizations may have that kind of advantage in pushing it down the throat. I mean, we just can't work it up. It has to go down from the mouth to the throat and then to the other parts of the body. So I think that's something which has to be identified. The second thing is appetite. You can't shove 3 chapatis down the throat at a time. So there has to be a proper appetite for it. So there has to be a proper plan to the whole thing. It has to be taken in chunks. And the thing is, it has to be beautifully synchronized. It has to be woven as a proper garland. In a garland, how does a garland look beautiful? It looks beautiful only if the flowers are handpicked, cherry-picked, and put in a designed frame. So somebody has to articulate the entire structure of it. Somebody has to look at how this has to look in totality after it's delivered. And once that is done, proper seriousness has to be there, proper budgets have to be there, and of course, people's mindset to really adopt the technology, which I think has changed after the pandemic. After the pandemic has onset, I think a lot of these attitudes and styles have changed. So I think people have become more demanding than they were earlier.
Yeah, so that's the new normal.
No, yeah, and it's going to be the new normal. So I think these masks, they're going to stay forever. So it's just become accessory. So something like that. So customers' demand now, even from technology, will just be very, very defined. I need something like this. Have you seen this website earlier? Have you gone through? And I've seen people talking about it. Can't we really do something like Amazon? Is it so difficult? The UI is so intuitive. The look and feel is so intuitive. It gives you a search which is so fast, and the moment you initiate a refund, you get a mail in your account box saying that this thing has been initiated, and you'll get in so much of a time frame. And look at the sourcing part of it. They organize it so beautifully. If we do a 2-3 site search, and if we find that there is a 1-day delay there, we'll simply say, oh, leave it there. You got it there at Amazon, which delivers in 2 days time frame or a 3 days time frame. So we're just getting hooked to it. So I think technology is going to be one piece on which people will really not only bank upon, they'll get hooked onto it, and they'll use it as a launch pad to ask for anything under the sun.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for answering that last question and sharing great insights and your journey so far with us. It was a complete pleasure interacting with you.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.